People of Earth, we come in peace.
Welcome to this neighborhood, neighbor.
I am the Martian ambassador.
Des Moines and all of central Iowa, welcome to Mac's World Live. Mac's World is your world. Every day we talk about the issues and topics that matter most to you. And as always, it's your voice we want to hear in Mac's World. So join the conversation by calling 515-244-0077. And now, here's the host of Mac's World Live, J. Michael McCoy.
All right, good afternoon. 7 minutes after the hour on this 19th day of February in the Lord's year 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy. We sure appreciate you deciding to spend your time with us today. Coming up in the second hour, my good friend Tom Clegg. I'm lucky to have him as a friend. You know, a friend is a present you give yourself. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but that's a Macism. And I gave Tom Clegg to myself as a friend many years ago, and it has been a wonderful relationship. Tom is a pastor and has a company that he will go into a broken church. A lot of times it's because of a split. You know, a small church starts and it grows and grows and grows, and then at some point one side wants to do red carpeting and the other side wants to do green, and they forget that it's all about at the foot of the cross, but whatever, I digress. And so Tom will go in and pastor the church back to health. Anyway, he's going to come in today, and we're going to talk about something really cool. The underlining, under the dirt conversation is really about your identity in your church. Yeah, I know, that's a tough subject. Your identity within your own church. But if I had a headline, or if I had a title I had to give it, it would be, it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no when the choir director comes and says, hey, could you help me do this or this? It's okay to say no when somebody says, hey, I need an extra usher today. Can you help out? It's okay to say no when somebody comes and says, man, I need you to help lead a ministry here at the church that we're really excited about starting. And I don't know about you, but I have a hard time saying no. I mean, I love the place I go. I know the church is the body, the people. But I love my church and where I go, and the people that work there, the staff are just incredible. And we have such a small staff compared to the number of people that attend our church. And so I'm always wanting to step up and help anybody on the staff that I can with anything. And then I get asked to do something, and I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And I can't say no sometimes. But it's okay to say no. That'll be our conversation in the second hour here on 99.3 The Truth. All right, I got a little sniffles today. I'm sorry. You're just going to hear it. I don't know how. I don't have a cough button or a sniff button. I need a sniff button. So every time I'm going to sniff, I can just turn off the mic so you don't hear that. Anyway. All right. A couple good stories going around. One is about the Academy. It was called the Academy. It's a boarding school that is down in Keokuk and Montrose. Its director and owner, Ben Train, has been is under suspect in a sex abuse investigation involving a 17-year-old student who attended the Tough Love School for Troubled Youth. He has no criminal record, and at this time he hasn't returned any of my phone calls. Now, the 13-year-old school in Iowa's southeast closed last month. You and I paid the bills for that. It's taxpayer money. And they are investigating whether he sexually abused a 17-year-old student, because that's what she said he did. They've seized a lot of electronic equipment, cell phones, cameras, and things like that. They've also seized items of trace evidence involving bodily fluids. Ew, that doesn't...
No, it does not sound good.
So I guess, and I don't always do this so well. I should do it better, but I don't. I just want to remind everybody, because this was front page above the fold with his picture on the Des Moines Register. That's tough, Here's this guy. I suppose he's 40. I don't know if he's married and have kids, but let's assume he is. And his picture is on the front, and the headline is Academy Chief is Abuse Suspect. So here's what people do. Academy Chief is sex. 17-year-old student, Ben Train. And then you mark him as bad. Forever and ever. If the headline tomorrow was Ankeny Chief cleared of all wrongdoing, you'd still have that memory in your head that he was accused of sexually abusing a 17-year-old female. And it's ruined forever. Now, I'm not knocking the paper for doing this. I'm not. They're just reporting the news. They handled this. I think they handled this very well. Not that they care what I think. But I know how we are. I know how humans are. And when somebody's accused of something, we have that tendency of just assuming they did it. And there have been so many people that I can list people that you probably know who have been severely damaged or ruined by press that makes it sound like they're guilty before there's ever a trial. I mean, to this day, on the anniversary of my buddy Bozen, on his death, you weren't around here at this time. This was years ago. Eddie Bozen, friend of mine, he was a fast runner. A lot of investments, helped a lot of small businesses. If you had a small business and he believed in you, he might throw in $35,000, $50,000 to help you. It was in 2008, and you know what happened in 2007 and 2008. Things got tough, and the report is that he went over to a hotel room in the Quad Cities and committed suicide. But it was never really, really completely cleared up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They never proved that he committed suicide.
Right.
But every year, on the anniversary of his death, the newspaper will print something about his suicide. And it's no longer an alleged suicide, because when somebody's dead, you don't have to say alleged, because they can't come back and sue you. But you talk Tom Coates sometime. Newspaper did a big thing on his not-for-profit many years ago, and it hurt. Talk to my buddy Don DeWay. And that's not to say that they didn't do anything wrong. I'm talking about you, not the paper. You understand me? I'm talking about you, me. How we as humans soak in headlines and read things to the point where it's not true. Here's a great example. You want to know a great example? Ted Cruz telling people that Ben Carson was going to get out of the race. Now, what was said? Ben Carson was returning to Florida, where he lives. Ted Cruz took it a step more, and I'm not sure I wouldn't have done the same thing if I was Ted Cruz. And I'm not a Ted Cruz supporter. But, CNN reports that he will not be flying directly to New Hampshire. Instead, will be going home to Florida. That's all CNN did. And it probably took 50% of his votes in the Iowa caucuses. Came out about, 621, I think, the night of the caucuses. And it spread like wildfire through every precinct. So if I'm sitting there and I'm going to caucus for Ben Carson, why would I throw it away if I think he's cashing it in after Iowa?
It didn't happen in ours.
He's in last place. What?
Didn't happen in our caucus. I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, it was in there. I mean, you and I were in the same caucus. Yeah, no, I heard it. Well, they weren't going to announce it from the stage, Bob. There wasn't going to be any official. That would have been horrible if someone had gotten up there and officially announced that he was doing that. But we heard rumors. We had people come up and say something. So, hey, have you heard, Frank?
Somebody made the point on the Trump team that in 1,500 caucus sites, it would only have required 4 votes per caucus site to make up them 6,000 votes that Cruz beat Trump by.
Yeah. Yeah, and see, a lot of those votes that Ted Cruz got would have been Ben Carson votes. Now, what does this have to do with anything? We're rehashing something. All I'm telling you is there's a headline, and my guess is it's going to be the lead story at 5, 8, and 13 tonight, that the Academy chief is under suspicion for sexual abuse with a 17-year-old female. So here you've got a midlife crisis guy, Ben Train, 30. I guess 37 isn't midlife. Well, I don't know. It could be. I had my midlife crisis at 12, so I was way underdue. But I just want us to remember and maybe pray for Ben Train, whether he's guilty or not. Just pray for him that the Lord will give him some comfort. Now, if in fact he knows, he and God know what happened. I don't even know if the 17-year-old knew what happened. But he and God knows. And if he did what they say he did, I hope God convicts him in his heart. And he steps up and he says, I'm guilty. Hires a good lawyer, does whatever they need to do. He's obviously out of business, so they can't hurt him there. But they can certainly ruin any opportunity he'd ever have to grow forward. So, if there's one thing I've learned about being a Jesus freak is that I've got to pray for people that I absolutely don't want to pray for. Absolutely don't want to pray for. But I guess that's what real love is. I'm trying to learn. I still have my left foot. Frank loves to tell the story. I've got 21 steps up my steps, and when my left foot hits the top step, I think of a name of a guy that really wronged me, really bad wronged me, and I always just say his name, and God bless him, take care of him. Then I think if I ever see him, I'm going to punch him in the throat, but obviously I wouldn't do that. So anyway, just remember what you read, and I'm probably guilty of this. You probably can call me up and tell me half a dozen times that I took somebody over the coals when it was just suspected. So maybe I'm a big, huge, ugly, white-haired, old white man hypocrite. And if I am, well, I know I am. I hope I'm not a hypocrite on this subject. All right, when we come back, Des Moines clamping down on in-home daycares. And I mean big time. I mean it's affecting like 400 daycares in Iowa. We'll talk about that when we come back here live on The Truth.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Minutes after 3:21. Let me give you some phone numbers. 515-244-0077. I know I say it too fast. Let me get a pencil and paper. Write it down. It's our studio hotline. It's the line you'd call if you want to talk to us on the radio. Or if you just want to leave a message with Ryan, you can do that. You don't have to be on the air. I mean, when the line is answered, you're not on the air. Ryan's got to physically put you on the air. But it's 515-244-0077. 515-240-0077. 0077. You know, put in your phone The Truth or Max World or 99.3 or whatever you want to, and that would be the request line.
You know why that's easy to remember? Because it's 2, and then there's 2 of everything. 2 4s, 2 0s, 2 7s.
It's like somebody did that on purpose.
That's so cool. So clever.
So cool.
And then the Service Legends Truth text talk line is also 515-809-0993.
And do you know why that's easy to remember?
I was waiting for you to tell me.
Because our channel is 99.3 The Truth.
Look at that guy. He's great.
Isn't he just incredible?
He's the best.
He's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And what's your favorite football team, Frank?
Yeah, well, the New York Jets.
Well, got that one wrong.
I was going to say, yeah, that was a bad move.
Well, that goes back to Joe Willie Namath in the 1969 Super Bowl, who defeated the Baltimore Colts as 17-point underdogs.
This guy's, I'm telling you, don't ever tell him anything you don't want him to remember, because he remembers everything. He's like an elephant. And starting next week, I'm sure we'll get NASCAR updates, because NASCAR, well, I guess it started yesterday.
Well, it started last night, actually. The twin 150s, called the Can-Am 150s, was won by Dale Jr. and Kyle Busch.
88 and what?
88 and 18.
Okay.
Well, now, what is, I'm going to be ignorant here. Now, what does that mean, 88 and 18? Well, that's their numbers. Yeah. Gotcha.
It's Go Jr., Dale Jr., of course, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Right.
And it just happens it was the anniversary of Dad's death.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Really?
And
hold on. Yesterday was the anniversary of Dale Jr. or Dale Sr.'s
death, apparently, because he won last night, and that was the anniversary. So the 18th or 19th of February 2001 is when Senior died.
Were you watching?
Yes.
Yeah, I was too.
But I didn't.
Bizarre.
I didn't know immediately, and later on, my buddy called me, and I turned on the TV. I said, "Are you for real?" And I'm watching Mike Helton in a press conference saying, "Well, we just lost Dale."
Yeah. That was incredible. But his death spurred on the manufacture and requirement of a product called the Hans device. Because what happened with Dale is he hit the wall really hard head on, and his neck went forward and snapped. So, well, he was dead instantly. I mean, he didn't burn, he didn't hurt. So they created this thing that goes around your neck, kind of like when you have a neck injury and you wear that plastic thing. It's kind of like that, only he can still turn to the right and the left because he's got to see mirrors. But before, the driver could literally turn around like you turn around to your kids in the back seat, and that was too dangerous. So because of Dale, they invented this thing called the Hans device, and now, I mean, nobody's died like that since.
Well, the other thing is, too, he refused to wear a closed-face helmet. Right. He was one of the last guys to wear the open-faced helmet.
Yep.
And as a result of that, NASCAR had to institute what they call softer walls, that has styrofoam behind a metal wall that compresses when the car hits the instead of hitting concrete, it hits the metal barrier with styrofoam in between that and the concrete, so it cushions the blow.
So his death probably saved many, many others. But I love NASCAR. This Sunday is probably a bigger day to me than the Super Bowl is.
Is that right?
Yeah, that and the Indy 500. I'm just a nut. I mean, I love my wife and kids. They know that those are the days that you don't plan anything. I mean, we never went anywhere for Memorial Weekend, and if the kids wanted to go somewhere, Mom took them. My grandfather drove in the Indy.
Mac goes into recluse in the Bat Cave, no one bothers him.
And I yell at the TV like most people yell at the TV during football games. I mean, I'm sitting there going, go, no, don't, oh, he foul, and, throw a flag, and there's no flag, of course, and yeah, I'm crazy. I love when you go fast and go left.
Yeah, that's the thing I never understand. These guys are just kind of going in a circle. I haven't quite figured it out yet.
Well, and Bradshaw and I used to have this argument all the time because I believe that a NASCAR driver is as much of an athlete as anybody else that plays basketball, baseball, football, hockey, anything else.
They are now. They weren't necessarily in the 60s. A lot of those guys.
Well, I'm not so sure anybody in the 60s who played. I don't think Butkus was much of an athlete.
David Pearson and some of them boys smoked cigarettes in the car. A lot of them drank before the race, during the race, after the race.
No, I understand that the professionalism has certainly gone up. But now, has anybody ever driven a NASCAR? Have you ever taken
You have.
Yeah, the experience. Or how about an open wheel Indy car?
No.
See, I've done those. So that my wife, she would give those to me for my birthday.
Did you do that in Kansas?
I did one in Kansas. I did one in Las Vegas, and I did two in Las Vegas and one in Kansas City. And here, I'll tell you funny. So what they do is they have a car in front of you and a car in back of you. So you can't go faster than the car in front of you, and you can't go slower than the car in back of you. So they kind of pace you because you don't have a speedometer. All right.
Okay.
So I'm out there, and I'm thinking I'm going so fast. I mean, I'm breaking land speed records, right? And I'm out there like 3 laps, and they wave me in. And I'm thinking, what? What did I do wrong? I wasn't getting over 60 mile an hour. I was so scared. And I remember a guy came up to me, and he was another one of the drivers, and he said, trust your tires. So what do you mean? He said, you're going slow because you get into those corners and you think your car is just going to slide right up and fall over the edge. He said, they won't. Trust your tires. So I ended up going 168.3 mile an hour. I got a little certificate. I'm so proud of that. It's like my first trophy for the best float in the parade. All right, let's get on to some important stuff because I'm sure you don't care. Go, NASCAR, go. Des Moines' decision to enforce a seldom applied city ordinance limiting in-home daycare to 6 children has triggered a cascade of consequences that could lead to the elimination of 1,800 state-approved child care slots. This would put families across Des Moines in a crisis, said Barb Merrill, Executive Director of the Association for Education of Younger Children. It has started with a single complaint from a neighbor about a parking near an in-home daycare. See how this stuff can happen? Tanya Boggs has had a daycare in her 6-bedroom home on the 6600 block of Southeast 3rd for years. And it says later on in the story, but for years. And somebody complained that there were parents pulling up outside, running in, getting their kids, and then coming out because it's a residential parking. It's not built for commercial parking. They made a complaint. This was 4 days before Christmas. And shortly after that, the city ordered the 44-year-old single mother to cut the number of kids she had in half. Boggs had 30 days to comply. Of course, she delivered the news to her parents, who scrambled to find alternative care. Des Moines rule limiting in-home daycares to 6 kids have been in place for more than 30 years, but it's very rarely ever been enforced. It's kind of like you're not supposed to spit on the sidewalk, but nobody ever gets a ticket for it. Boggs has filed a complaint against the city's 483 other state-sanctioned in-home daycares in an effort to force Des Moines officials to revisit the rule. The city has begun reviewing the complaint, and unless it makes a change in its ordinance, hundreds of other providers could soon receive orders to reduce the number of children they had. Sheila Hansen, policy director for the state lobbyist for the Children and Family Policy Center, issued the statement, "This would be a total nightmare. I didn't know this. Iowa leads the nation in working parents. Per capita, we have more parents, couples, that work than any other state. So mom and dad's work here. Iowa consistently tops national rankings of household with working parents. 76% of Iowa homes with children 5 and younger had their single parent or both parents in the workplace in 2014. That according to a report from the National Kids Count Data Center. The national average is 65, so 65 to 76. So
wow.
Yeah. The number of working parents in Iowa drives up demand for child care. If Des Moines begins reducing the number of slots available for in-home providers, Iowa low-income families working non-traditional schedules would be mostly affected. So what do you think about that? Right now, the rule was 12. That's the rule that they thought they had. And it's actually half of that, 6. So you could have 12 kids in an in-home daycare. Now, I think they also require, many home daycare operators interviewed said they were unaware the city had a limit of children that was different than the state. Oh, that's what it is. I'm sorry. The state is 12.
Gotcha.
The city is 6. And you get your license from the state. Okay?
So that's where the confusion kicks in.
That's where the confusion kicks in. And I think they have to have like one adult for every 3 kids or something like that. You can't have one adult and 12 kids.
Right.
So what do you think about that? I think that's interesting.
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is, wow, gee, the power of a complaint, right? You don't even think about that, right? This gal that made this complaint, I don't think the person that made the complaint was probably just irritated at the time, made the complaint, and things have just kind of exploded out of proportion. I say what also jumps out at me is that statistic about the number of working families, in other words, where two parents work in the home. I know that's common nowadays, but I didn't realize that Iowa and Des Moines, I guess in particular, leads that movement in a weird way. So this is difficult because, man, that is a stressful situation because if those families depend on those incomes. They're going to depend on some kind of child care, and there's not going to be. I can't even do the math. Well, what's 6 times 400?
No, it's 6 times 1,800.
6 times 1,800. That's how many kids would all of a sudden not have a place to be.
Yeah, that's 84,000. Am I right? 8,400. What's 6 times 18, Frank?
60.
6 times 8 is 48. So that's 10. That's 10,000.
108.
108,000?
I believe so, yeah.
Is that terrible? Grown men, we can't make a calculation.
But no, that's incredible. That is a lot of
60 and 48 would be 108.
6 times 8 is 28. 6 times 1 is 6, 7, 8.
We're going to listen to you do the math. But anyway, no, I think that's
10,800.
10,800 kids that would not have a place to go if they enforce this. I don't think that the Department of Human is DHS going to be involved in this. I mean,
I don't think so.
Because
I don't think it's a
you're going to have, if they were to shut all those down. That's going to create a financial hardship on a lot of families in a lot of ways. There's not going to be daycare centers, non-in-home daycare centers that are going to be accommodate all these kids.
It's just all right. But on the other hand,
maybe they just need to meet the state standards. Maybe they just need to up it.
Yeah, I mean, why? And see, why would? I mean, I'm glad that we have city rule, state rule, and federal rule. I think the decision should be made locally. But if you get your license from the state and they say 12 and Des Moines says 6, somebody's got to decide something there.
Right.
And my guess is it's going to be easier for Des Moines to go to 12 than it is for the rest of the state.
Right.
To go to 6.
Right. It has to do with parking space, things like that.
I mean, but I tell you what, if you and your partner want to open up a daycare, now's a good time. All right, when we come back, the funnel. The funnel has hit. As of today, I'll tell you what bills made the funnel and what didn't. And then a little later on, the Lenten fish fry club. Say that fast.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer. I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs.
And I'm the service manager,
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. Satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
Sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
3:38, 22 minutes before the top of the hour, 4 o'clock here in Des Moines, Iowa, top of the Merle Hay Mall, overlooking the plains of Iowa. It's kind of interesting because...
The plains of Iowa.
The Merle Hay Mall Tower is topographically taller than the principal building. The top of the Merle Hay Mall Tower, and that's that building that sits inside of Merle Hay. A lot of people never even notice it.
No, until they're driving. If you're driving down Douglas by the mall, just look up. You'll see big old satellite dishes on the roof. That's us.
And so the three highest topographical places, there are 2 in Dubuque, and the Merle Hay Mall is the 3rd highest in the state of Iowa, which is so freaky because you'd think principal building would be so much taller, or state capitol would be so much taller.
Now, the building itself, just to make so people understand, the building itself isn't taller. It just so happens that we're in a high spot. The ground here is high. We're only 6 floors up from the ground.
Yeah,
but from sea level.
Well, and when we go on the roof and we look 360 degrees, we can see a 60 degrees. So you don't hit horizon. It just goes and goes and goes. That's why this is such a tall. And if you think about it. Everything goes downhill from Merle Hay. Everything goes downhill from Merle Hay. So, anyway.
It's all downhill from here, Mac. Hey, I just wanted to let folks know, we had a caller call in. You can do that, too, at 515-244-0077. And the caller, her name's Chris. She pointed out something that I thought was profound. In that article that you read last segment about the daycare centers possibly closing down, she pointed out that many of those daycare centers are operated by single mothers.
Yeah.
And that's their primary source of income. And those people's income is being cut in half then if this goes through. That's bad news. And I thank you so much for calling in, Chris, because I did not think about that, the impact of the daycare worker herself.
Now, if everything goes downhill from Merle Hay, somebody needs to inform Jordan Krieg.
Christine Hensley is quoted in this article as saying that I would love to see the capacity limit increase if that's what we need to do. So, and Hensley kind of drives that ship down there.
Well, that's good. And I suspect it'll probably, that makes the easiest sense. Don't you agree, Bob? I mean, for the city just to go from 6 to 12, it seems like that would be the easiest thing to do. If that many home daycare centers are already doing it, it would be pretty terrible. Unless DHS were to get involved and say, okay, these children aren't being taken care of well.
Well, but but there's still a minimal number there's a maximum number of kids you can have per adult. So if those in-home daycares have 12 kids now, they've already got the number of people working there that they should. So DHS wouldn't be involved. I mean, I could see DHS try to get involved, but they shouldn't.
Oh, I see what you're saying. But it's still, but still, then anyway.
Does any of you guys watch John Stossel on Fox News?
Yeah.
He's kind of a / quote unquote
Stossel. Did he leave? Oh, this is so embarrassing.
Yeah, he used to be on ABC.
Did he leave ABC?
Yeah, Stossel. He's a kind of a libertarian type of guy, and he does these stories all the time about government involving themselves in people's lives out trying to make money outside of government regulation. And government always comes down on them like a ton of bricks, like people who want to rent their own personal car. Use your car as a rental, and people rent your car. There's all kinds of things that people have come up with ingenious ways to make money, and the government always wants to sit on it.
Well, I mean, but we want to be careful here. These home daycares are all licensed with the state. I mean, We're not talking about people that are all run amok and just doing this on the side here.
But still, the government's coming in, the state, city government's coming in trying to micromanage it.
Yeah, they are. But this is something that needs to be looked at. All right, and hopefully they'll do the right thing. The city should raise it to 12. I'll be honest, I would be shocked. Why do I say that, I'll be honest? Does that mean the rest of the time I'm lying?
No.
It just means I have a crutch. I'd be real surprised if the city left it at 6. I don't see the
right.
I don't why? There's no reason for it. All right. So I'm going to test Frank. Are you ready? Frank, did you know that I was going to test you today?
No.
Okay, can you tell me where the tradition of Lent fish frying comes from?
Catholicism.
Okay. Why did Catholicism decide that on Fridays there would be fish fries during Lent?
Because a lot of them live by the sea. They wanted to support the fishermen.
I can't tell.
That's ridiculous. You knew you were joking.
Okay,
let me tell you.
Not without doing some brushing up, I couldn't give you the exact answer.
Do you know why, Chris?
Honestly, I don't. But I mean, it's that tradition because during Lent, most of us give up meat, right?
Right. That was Catholics give up meat.
Right.
And what that was is if you couldn't think of something you wanted to give up, the priest would just strongly suggest that it be meat. Yeah. It could have been, folding your clothes for all he cared.
Right.
The Catholic Church didn't get anything special because we stopped eating meat.
Right.
Probably the pork producers really hated it.
Especially here in Iowa, yeah.
So there is now a club in Des Moines, in central Iowa, called the Lenten Fish Fry Club.
Yeah.
And yes, you can get that on Facebook. You can find it on Twitter and Instagram at Des Moines or at DM Fish Fry. So these folks, this is hilarious. These folks have gone around and rated, like you'd rate a restaurant.
Oh, wow.
They've rated the different Catholic churches that are having fish fries.
Oh, that's funny.
For instance, at St. Joseph's, 3300 Easton Boulevard, this fry is the... I need some music. Da, 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 da. This fry is the highlight of our season every year. No true fish fry is complete without hush puppies, and this is the only place we've found them. They also feature killer side dishes that include green bean casserole and the best cheesy potatoes. And there's a bonus. Youth group kids carry your tray to your seat for you, probably because it's so heavy with goodness. $8 for adults, $6 for kids, and under 6 free.
I love the way you read that. Frankly, that was awesome.
We had a pastor at our church who grew up Catholic, and he was very incensed when the Pope said it was okay, you could now eat something besides fish on Friday, because he was, what about all those people that went to hell because they ate fish on Friday all those years? So how does the Pope just all of a sudden come along and decide arbitrarily?
The church never said you went to hell for eating meat on Friday. That's silliness.
No, I do eat fish on Friday during Lent.
Well, all the fast food places,
ribs.
all the fast food places are whipping out their new fish everything. You know what I mean? Everybody's got a new fish something. This is that time of the year.
Except you know where you can't get fish on Friday in Lent in Iowa? Where, Frank?
I don't know.
Arby's, because they don't have pickles.
Wait, what?
Arby's doesn't have fish, period,
were you
do they?
here that day?
I guess not.
He wasn't.
You can't get a fish sandwich because they don't have pickles?
Hold on. Let me back up.
This is a story, okay.
I like pickles on my fish.
Amen.
All right. And so Arby's has, and it's really good. I got to be honest with you. It's a flatbread with a piece of fish and some not hollandaise sauce, fish tartar.
Sure.
And some lettuce. And they're 2 for $5. So pretty good deal. So I go there the other day to get them, and I order them with extra pickles. I'm sorry, sir. Arby's doesn't have pickles. I said, what? What? I'm sorry, sir. Arby's doesn't have pickles. I said, you don't have pickles for like your, we've got the beef? You know that ad? We've got the beef. They have no pickles. They have no pickles.
Now, you have to put this in perspective, because I stopped at Fairway with this guy when he took me up to see the radio tower in Madrid.
Yeah.
And he stopped back by and bought about a 2-gallon jar of dill pickles.
Yeah.
So this is how
a 3-gallon actually.
So this is how well and how irritated this guy may get if they don't have pickles for his sandwich.
Well,
that's pretty interesting, though.
Yeah, they don't have pickles.
But you know what?
I can't buy fish at Arby's.
That makes sense, though, because when I think of a roast beef sandwich with some melted cheese on it there, like they do at Arby's, I don't want a pickle on that.
Well,
but on a fish sandwich, I could see it, but they don't do that enough to actually stock the pickles. They're just trying to save a buck.
So back to the fish on Friday thing.
Yeah.
Let me read this from Catholicism.org.
All right, tell you what, hold that, because we're going to take our next break, and I want to hear that. By the way, the love of my life, Pam, just texted me and said, instead of try frankly. Well, Pam, I love you, but if every time I was going to do that and I'd say frankly, Frank would say, yes.
Yes.
But I'll work on that. You know, frankly. Okay. Coming back on this station, which tells the truth. That's why we're called The Truth.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
if you can only hear what happens. They just beat on me. I'm just like I'm like a puppy, and they just beat me. They just beat me over and over. Chris Roloff. You know, when you hear him on the air, he sounds like such a kind, loving man. He's got a great laugh, and he's passionate about things. But when the mic's off, it's just terrible. The other day, he made me go get his coffee, and I had to call him Master. Okay, I'm just telling you what it's like around here. I tell you, it's fun. It is fun to work here. It's a lot of fun. It's great fun. But sometimes the boss, All right. Somebody called and wanted to know where that fish fry was. That's at St. Joseph's, 3300 Eastern Boulevard. Now, that's only one of them. There are other fish fries. For instance, St. Boniface. You want me to use that voice again when I'm reading the review?
Yeah, it's really great.
From start to finish, this is a world-class fish fry. Starting with a salad bar and ending with homemade apple crumble, St. Boniface delivers variety. Try the pasta and 3 different sauces offering up clam sauce, Alfredo, and marinara. And pick up some fried shrimp to boot. Get to this one early because the line started when it opened and it didn't dance for seconds. Adults $10, kids $5, and kids under 3 free at St. Boniface.
Man, I'd buy that. Whatever you're selling in that voice, I'd buy that. That's a good sales pitch.
And quite frankly, they went through 6 of them here, and they're all Catholic churches, and they all had wonderful deals. But go to Lenten Fish Fry Club on Facebook, and they've got all these fish fries. That's a great thing about Facebook.
It is really cool. You know, there's some.
But you can only
located
3300 Easton Boulevard. That's way on the east side of town. You probably you've never even been there.
I probably haven't.
That's over by, what's the golf course over there? The Grandview Golf Course?
Grandview.
State Fair kind of area.
Okay. I've been to the State Fair.
What were you going to say?
I want to know why Catholics eat fish on Friday.
Oh, and Bob, why don't you tell us?
I think somebody knows that answer.
Bob, what do you want to Bob, why don't you fill us in?
Okay, Catholicism.org is... Or better said, why do Catholics abstain from warm-blooded flesh meat on Friday?
Oh, now there goes my appetite up there, Whoopi. Warm flesh.
The obvious answer that every Catholic should know is that it is a penance imposed by the Church to commemorate the day of the crucifixion of our Lord, to enable us to make small sacrifice for the incredible sacrifice He made for our salvation. Why, then, is fish allowed? The drawing of a symbolic fish in the dirt was a way that the early Christians knew each other when it was dangerous to admit
that's why the fishies on the back of the cars.
Our Lord cooked fish for His apostles.
No, wait a minute, hold on. Did you know that, Chris?
Do you know how it used to work? The tradition is that if you met someone on the path, what you would do either with your foot or with a stick or something like that is you would draw a half curved line.
Yeah.
And if the other person was a Christian, they would do the other half and it'd become a fish. Yeah.
We need to get rid of the carpet and put some sand in.
And we can just do that as we walk around?
Yeah.
That sand will not get in the...
Our Lord cooked fish for His apostles after His resurrection, and most of these men were fishermen. After He established His church, these fishermen became fishers of men for the kingdom of God. Did you know that the Catholic practice of abstaining from meat on Friday was the reason for the creation of McDonald's Filet-O-Fish sandwich?
Yes.
Because hamburger sales dropped off noticeably on Fridays, the owner of a franchise in Cincinnati introduced a new offering and sales picked up again. Sadly, many Catholics are not aware that the Friday abstinence rule is still in effect.
Oh!
McDonald's owned by the Catholic Church.
Oh, they're not either.
It doesn't say that in here.
G-Money, Frank.
Just saying.
All right.
You know what? I'm really proud of all those folks that do abstain from eating meat on Friday that have done that over the years simply because they've made an impact on our culture. You know, I think that's something that as Christians we should consider that. You know, if we are unified, just like the Catholic Church was unified at that time, we can actually make an impact. Now, having fish sandwiches at McDonald's, is that really the most wonderful impact we can make? No, but it's a good reminder that we can actually make change.
Got some
And he laughs at me. How is that not?
Now, who makes a better fish fillet, McDonald's or Burger King?
I don't know. Fried fish from fast food places make me sick.
McDonald's. McDonald's has, far. That is a fish sandwich. And here's how you make a really... So I used to work at Bike's Burger Bar in Beatrice, Nebraska. It was one of my first jobs. Actually, my first job was Maxine's Restaurant. I was a dishwasher, but they fired me. I thought I should be running the place, and I actually told Maxine that. So my second job was at Bike's Burger Bar. And so you get those fish things, and you put them in the fryer, and then they're done. So here's what you do. You put like 5 pickles on it. Then you put a slice of cheese on it, and then you just very carefully lower the basket with the fish in there into the hot grease, submerge it just for like 2 seconds, like 1001, 1002, and bring it out, and that cheese will all melt over the pickles, and it'll make it one deal, like a pickled cheese chicken sandwich.
Could they get any more
fish pickle?
Could they get any more B's in that title? Bike's Biker Bar. What was it?
Bike's Burger Bar.
Bike's Burger Bar.
All right, one more time.
Of Beatrice, Frank.
One more time before we leave. Here's our last audio review of a fish fry here in Des Moines. This one at St. Thomas Aquinas, 210 Highway R63 in Indianola. This location is both fried and baked fish, French fries and baked potatoes, and grilled cheese for those fish adverse. For just a small donation, you can eat from the Boy Scouts dessert table, which is diverse, delicious, and worth the trip. $8 for adults, $3 for children. Sorry, kids, no free food. There you go. Hope you like that. All right, one more thing real quick. The strangest thing. So Dow, who merged with DuPont, there's 170 people going to be laid off, and these are $100,000 a year jobs, so this has a real negative impact. So they've come back, and they've asked the state for money so they could save those jobs. Who's on the phone? Let's go to the phone. No, don't take the phone call. Is that your girlfriend on hold? So you're using Ryan, you're using company times to talk to your girlfriend on the hotline at 515-244-0077? That's incorrigible. Okay. We're going to take the hour news break, and you'll hear from Salem Radio Network News. And then when we come back, Pastor Tom Clegg with a great show that's entitled, It's Okay to Say No, when your church asks you to volunteer for something. It's about the identity you have. And do you have an identity at church that you're a good church guy or gal because you volunteer? Do you think your works are getting you there? We'll talk about that. That's coming up later today. And if I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. I love this job. I couldn't do it without you. For Ryan, Chris, Frank, and Bob, I'm J. Michael McCoy. Thanks for listening to The Truth.